Hey everyone! Before we dive into the story of this coin, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next hidden gem, especially if you're into coins, history, or just good old treasure hunting. Today, I want to take you on a journey through one of the most interesting and sometimes misunderstood coins in modern South African numismatics, the 1995 South Africa 5 Rand coin. This coin might not be solid gold or silver, but it packs a lot of story, design, and nuance. And that's exactly why collectors, especially seasoned ones aged 55 to 65 plus, will appreciate its value. Picture this. The year is 1995, just a year after South Africa took a major step forward into democracy. The country is evolving, reinventing itself, and with that comes new coinage, coins that carry not just monetary value, but a symbol of a new era. The 5 Rand piece from that time isn't just change for your pocket. It's a snapshot of history. First, let's talk about the design. On the obverse, that's the head side, you see the South African coat of arms, and the inscription is bilingual: English, South Africa, and Afrikaans, SUID Africa. A subtle but powerful nod to the country's dual-language heritage. Just below, the phrase "Ex unitate vires" is stamped, meaning out of unity, strength, which feels especially meaningful in the context of South Africa's transformation. On the reverse side, there's a wildebeest, new, a graceful and rugged animal that is part of South Africa's rich wildlife identity. The denomination 5 Rand, or 5 ALS, sits above it. Now, what's it made of? This isn't a precious metal coin. The 1995 5 Rand is composed of nickel-plated copper, giving it a solid but not heavyweight feel. It weighs about 7 grams, measures 26 millimeters across, and has a segmented reeded edge, alternating smooth and toothed sections. In terms of how many were made, this coin was very common, a mintage of 41,238,000 pieces. In other words, this isn't some super rare variant, but a piece that was very much part of everyday life in South Africa in the mid-1990s. So what about value? Here's where things get interesting. Despite being a large denomination coin, numismatically, it's not especially rare or valuable in high-end terms. According to Pheronum, depending on its condition, the value sits between about 91 cents and $7.02 for 5 Rand coins of that era. Specific listings on VCoins have shown this 1995 version sold for around $5 to $5.80. And in more circulated, everyday condition, VG or good, its market price may even be just close to its face value or slightly above because of its wide availability. One more source, Numis, gives catalog prices for a 1995 5 Rand as VF, very fine, is almost equal to $4.50, XF, extremely fine, is almost equal to $5.50, and a proof version around $10. Here's a key thing to appreciate, especially for my audience of seasoned collectors or history enthusiasts. The value of this coin is not in some rare metal or extremely limited mint run, but in its symbolism. You're holding a coin that circulated during the very early years of post-apartheid South Africa, a time of hope, unity, and transformation. That historical significance is worth something beyond the metal. Some people on collector forums remark that even though the metal isn't precious, these coins are a lovely piece of nostalgic value or a reminder of a time of change. That 5 Rand coin is still being actively used. It's still R5. Others reflect on how common these coins were. So finding one doesn't guarantee a big numismatic payday, but it's still a meaningful find. Now, you might wonder, why did someone say $450 for this coin? Realistically, for a standard circulation 1995 5 Rand, that kind of number is wildly inflated, unless it's some extremely rare proof, error coin, or something misrepresented. Based on available data from multiple numismatic sources, Pheronum, VCoins, Numis, the real market value is far, far lower than $450 for a regular example. If someone is claiming it's worth $450, that usually falls into one of a few scenarios. Maybe they're confusing it with another 5 Rand coin, like a commemorative or special edition. If it's an unusual minting mistake, it could be more valuable, but that isn't common for this type. A pristine, certified proof could fetch more, but even Then, $450 for a nickel-plated copper piece from 1995 seems very optimistic based on typical sales.so. If you're making a video for a more mature male audience, aged 55, 65 plus, who appreciate value, history, and authenticity, here's why this coin is really worth talking about. It's not just coin chaff. It's a symbol of a pivotal time in South Africa's journey. Its design is bold and meaningful. National arms, a wildebeest, a motto of unity that's accessible, not ultra-rare, meaning you could pick one up cheaply enough to actually hold a piece of history. And it's a great cautionary tale. Not everything that people hype up, like a $450 value, is realistic. Knowing real market info saves you from overpaying or being misled. In conclusion, the 1995 South African 5 Rand is a coin to respect, not because it's a gold mine, but because it's a time capsule, a piece minted in the early days of a new South Africa. It's a collector's piece that makes sense in a modest collection, especially for someone interested in political history, currency of change, or legacy coins. Its real market value lies in the $1 to $7 range, depending on its condition, not in extravagant figures. So when you show this coin on your channel, emphasize its story first, its design second, and then walk your audience through why its legendary price claims might not hold up. That kind of honest, grounded content is exactly what builds trust with your seasoned viewers. Before we begin this amazing journey into the hidden value of an old South African coin, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now and join our coin collecting family. Your one click helps this channel grow and brings you more rare coin stories, forgotten histories, and unexpected treasure finds from around the world. So go ahead and subscribe because today's coin might surprise you more than you expect. Most of us have seen small bronze coins lying around in drawers, old cupboards, or inside metal tins where we kept small change many years ago. Some of us might even remember the days when 1 cent actually meant something. But what if I told you that a tiny 1 cent coin minted in 1964 in South Africa could hold more value than a whole wallet of modern currency? What if this small brown coin, forgotten by many, could be the kind of hidden treasure that collectors silently hunt for? That is exactly what we're going to explore today. This is the story, beauty, rarity, and hidden value of the South Africa 1 cent coin from 1964. Imagine the world in 1964. A year filled with political shifts, cultural changes, and countries trying to shape their future. In South Africa, the mint produced a series of coins under the South African Republic. These coins represented not only the economic system, but also a very specific era in the country's history. The 1 cent coin of that time was struck in bronze, giving it a warm reddish-brown tone that becomes darker as it ages. For collectors who love coins from the mid-1900s, this coin carries both visual beauty and historical weight. When someone from the older generation holds this coin, it often triggers a wave of nostalgia. Men in their late 50s to mid-60s often remember using small denomination coins for buying sweets, matches, newspapers, or bus tickets. The size, the texture, and even the smell of old bronze can bring back memories from a time when life was simpler and money carried a different kind of value. That is why these older coins have a special emotional appeal, especially among collectors of this age group. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of personal history. The 1964 South African 1 cent coin features a beautiful design. On the obverse side, you have the portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch colonial administrator often considered the founder of Cape Town. His profile is sharp, dignified, and carries the classical style of mid-century engraving. Across the rim appears the country's name. The reverse side shows a beautifully detailed image of 2 sparrows perched on a branch. This artwork symbolizes peace, nature, and everyday life in South Africa. The design is simple yet elegant, and its detailed engraving makes it stand out when compared to many other small denomination coins from the same period. Now, you might ask, what makes this particular year, 1964, so interesting for collectors? First, it was a year of relatively low mintage compared to other 1 cent issues of the decade. Second, many of these coins entered heavy circulation, meaning a lot of them suffered damage, scratches, wear, and discoloration. That means finding one in exceptionally good condition today is far more difficult than finding common circulated examples. Collectors always look for coins that are well preserved, and even a slight improvement in condition can increase the price dramatically. Another reason collectors value this coin is the changing historical significance. During the 1960s, South Africa was under international attention, and many coins from this period are considered important pieces of political and cultural history. Whether we agree or disagree with the events of that time, these coins remain historical artifacts that represent a very specific moment in the country's timeline. That historical context adds value, especially for longtime collectors who appreciate coins from transitional years. When evaluating a 1964 1-cent coin, condition makes all the difference. A coin that has been used many years will naturally show signs of wear. The edges may be smoother, the letters might look softer, and the sparrow design may lose some of its sharpness. Collectors classify condition using grades such as good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated. Uncirculated coins, especially those with an original shine or mint luster, are extremely rare for this date because small denominations rarely survive untouched. Most people didn't think such coins were worth saving, so only a handful of high-grade examples remain today. The metal content of this coin is bronze, which ages in an interesting way. If stored carefully, it develops a beautiful natural patina that can increase the coin's appeal. But if exposed to moisture or rough storage conditions, it can turn dark, blotchy, or even greenish. That is why condition varies so much between surviving examples. When a collector sees a well-preserved 1964 bronze coin without corrosion, discoloration, or scratches, he knows he has found something worth keeping. Now let's talk about why collectors above the age of 55 especially love coins like this one. Many men in this age group grew up in an era where physical money meant something. Coins were not just small metal discs in your pocket. They were tools of everyday life. Unlike the digital age we live in today, people learned to value money through experience. This emotional connection makes older coins incredibly meaningful. When someone from that generation holds a 1964 1-cent coin, they don't just see its design. They see memories, moments, and stories. That emotional connection is what drives many collectors to pay higher prices for coins that remind them of their childhood or youth. Let's take a moment to imagine how this small coin may have traveled. It might have passed through a worker's hands after a long day in a factory. It might have been given as change in a local shop. It might have been part of a child's savings kept in a jar. It might have been placed in a mint set by someone who had the foresight to preserve it. Every coin has a story, and that story adds depth to its value. That is why thoughtful collectors appreciate not only the physical condition, but also the history behind each coin. Now you may wonder about rarity. While these coins aren't impossibly rare in heavily used condition, the number of high-grade examples is extremely limited. That's where the true value lies. A 1964 coin in poor or average condition might be found easily and isn't worth a lot. But a coin that looks almost untouched, with sharp details and bright surfaces, can command a very impressive price in today's collector market. Collectors who buy these coins today often search for pieces that stand out in grade and appearance. If they see a coin with minimal wear, original color, and strong detail, they won't hesitate to pay more. Over time, prices have steadily increased because collectors are becoming more interested in coins from the mid-1900s, especially those connected to colonial or transitional periods. This long-term demand has pushed the value upward, especially for rare high-quality specimens. Sir, before we begin this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel because every single week, we bring you rare coin information that can change the way you look at the coins lying quietly in your drawer or inside an old box forgotten for years. Your one subscribe helps us continue this journey of uncovering history, value, and the hidden treasure behind old coins that most people walk past without ever noticing. Now let us begin today's story, a story that goes deeper than metal, a story connected to time, change, and a moment in history many people still remember clearly. When we talk about South African coins, most people immediately think about the 1 rand or the 2 rand coins because those are the ones people usually check first for value. But sometimes the true surprise lies in the smallest denominations, the coins people ignore, the coins people never expect to be worth anything more than their face value. And among those overlooked coins, the 1994 South Africa 10-cent coin stands quietly, carrying with it a very special moment in world history. The year 1994 was not just another year. For South Africa, it was the turning point, a year of transition, a year that symbolized a new direction. And because of that, coins minted that year became symbols of change. Today we are going to explore whether your 1994 10-cent coin is just a normal old coin or something collectors around the world are hunting for. Now imagine this. You open an old wallet, one that might have belonged to your father, or you find a small tin box that has been sitting in your house for decades. Inside it, there are several coins. Some shiny, some darkened with age, some you recognize, and some you don't. But one of them catches your eye. It has the familiar orange-brown color of bronze. You turn it over and see the protea flower on one side and the year 1994 on the other. At first glance, you may not think anything special about it. After all, it is only 10 cents. But the reason collectors look for this coin has nothing to do with its face value. It is about rarity, condition, mint differences, and a particular set of characteristics that make some of these coins far more valuable than people imagine. A lot of people assume that coins released in the millions cannot be valuable. But this is where things get interesting. Even in large mintages, specific variations and specific grades can turn a common coin into an extremely rare collectible. The 1994 10-cent coin is one of those coins where tiny differences can make a massive impact on value. Collectors who focus on South African coins know that coins from transitional years often carry higher importance. This coin sits exactly in that era. And because people used it daily for many years, finding one today in top condition is much harder than you might think. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, scratched, dented, and worn down. So when a collector finds one in excellent condition, untouched by circulation, it becomes extremely desirable. Another thing that adds value is that some coins from this particular year were struck with slight minting inconsistencies. These are not obvious errors like missing designs or double strikes. Instead, they are very small variations noticeable mostly to trained collectors or grading professionals. These small differences make certain pieces unique enough to stand out in the collector market. For serious numismatists, uniqueness means rarity, and rarity means value. Over the years, collectors have documented examples of 1994 10-cent coins that reach surprisingly high prices due to these special characteristics. But condition still remains the biggest factor. If your coin has sharp details, no scratches, bright luster, and retains its original look without damage, it immediately becomes more attractive to buyers. Collectors will always pay more for coins that look untouched. Think of it this way. Imagine two cars of the same model from the same year. One is beaten, scratched, and rusty. The other one looks brand new despite being decades old. Both are the same car, but the value difference is huge. Coins follow the same logic. A mint-state coin can multiply its value many times over compared to a circulated one. The 1994 10-cent coin is no exception. For the older viewers watching this, especially those in the age range of 55 to 65, you know how quickly time passes. You know how objects from your youth gain value not because of their physical material, but because of the era they represent. Many of you lived through times where coins were not collectibles, but simple tools of everyday life. Today, those same pieces of metal carry stories that many younger people will never understand. When you hold a coin from 1994, you are not holding just an object. You are holding a piece of memory. And memories, when preserved well, become valuable not only emotionally, but financially too. This is why collectors go after this coin. Not because it is made of some precious metal, not because it is extremely rare in number, but because its condition combined with the historical moment attached to its year has created a demand that continues to grow. Coins from transitional political periods have consistently appreciated in value over decades. When collectors look at the 1994 10-cent coin, they see a marker of a time that reshaped a nation. They see a symbol of change, unity, and new beginnings. Another reason demand continues to rise is that people often discover these coins accidentally. Someone might find one in an old wallet and suddenly realize it might be special. This creates a continuous cycle of interest. And because collectors love coins with a story, many are willing to pay high amounts for pieces that represent something significant. Over time, listings from auctions have shown that certain high-grade examples of this coin have attracted strong bidding competition. Buyers from different countries want to secure coins tied to major historical moments. And 1994 is one of those key years. But here is what most people do not know. Not every 1994 10-cent coin is valuable. Only a small percentage have the characteristics collectors are searching for. That is why patience matters. If you have one, you must look at it carefully. The shine, the edges, the details of the protea flower, the clarity of the lettering, the sharpness of the date, and the smoothness of the fields. Even the slightest imperfection can affect value. But even the slightest perfection can increase value. That is why grading companies exist. They examine coins under magnification, assign a grade, and seal the coin in a holder to protect its condition permanently. Many people older in age often have a better chance of finding valuable coins because they lived during the time these coins circulated and are more likely to have original collections stored away. If you are between 55 and 65, this is the perfect time to check your old collections, old drawers, old pockets of coats, and especially old boxes you have not opened in years. You would be surprised how often valuable coins hide in plain sight. Your old 10-cent coin might be worth more than you imagine, or it might be the exact one collectors are looking for. And now we come to the part you have been waiting for. The value. Rare examples of the 1994 South Africa 10-cent coin in exceptional condition have been known to reach extremely high prices when sold to the right collector or at the right auction. And among the highest valuations recorded for a top-grade piece, a special example of this coin has been valued at an astonishing $78,000. Yes, $78,000 for a 10-cent coin that most people would walk past without even noticing.